In order, I'll rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. If there's no changes, can I get a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved. Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Open forum.
Ladies in the back?
All right. Then we're out to consent agenda, approval of the minutes, bills, purchase orders, approval of investments, fire department account bad debt, community festival license for the chamber. Then there's gambling resolution number 2021-15 for the Melrose Area Chamber of Commerce. Can I get a motion to approve?
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. Fun part, we have presentations tonight for 2 ambulance members. Jen, can you give us a little history on them first?
All right, good evening. On behalf of the Melrose Ambulance, I would like to recognize 2 of our long-term members tonight, Brenda Winker and Randy Duffner, who have both went into retirement after 26 years. Randy, I hope I have that correct. Randy's been on 29 years and he had a small break in there. And Brenda's been on for 26 years. I'd like to wish you guys the best in your retirement, and I hope you enjoy your full nights of sleep. Mayor Finken, can you present them with their certificates, please?
I will. And I want to also say my gratitude to you two. You guys were both there longer than I was on the fire department, and especially with you two and Jen, we've been to some real things in our lives, a lot of crying days and happy days, but I want to just say thank you for everything that you've done, especially to make our lives as firefighters, first responders easier by having you so close. And I appreciate everything that you've done for our community, and thank you very much. And I was wondering if you could come up and take pictures with us, and I'll let you guys go so you don't have to sit here and listen to me babble all night long. So. All right. Should we do it here? Yeah, let's do it right here. Because they want to take one picture with all of us.
Right away.
Tony.
With Tony.
I'm gonna get up to you, Randy.
Here, Brenda.
You're gonna keep it up.
5 years and 10 months of service. So I got my shot. I think we all gotten our shots already.
Yep.
So and Randy, you want to come in here also?
I've got my shot.
I did too. I'm gonna do is if you guys want to stand on either side of me.
Okay, we'll put you in the middle.
You were in the middle?
Yeah, I'll be in the middle. Trust me, you guys have thrown me around a few times. So yeah, here we go. It's hard to
Did you get enough, Carol?
You guys have to stay this year.
24 more to go. Are we supposed to shake hands or something?
Oh, yeah, we could open the words and I can sort of hold on to them with you too or whatever.
Sorry, grab your.
It's been a long time.
You've been doing this for a while, Joe, haven't you?
Try to have a nice smile.
I hope.
Do the best you can, Joe.
Kissing the babies.
Just one more, please, sorry.
I think Carol has one if you miss it.
Maybe. That's not for the center with my right away tomorrow morning. Thank you.
And again, Randy,
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. It's always fun with you. Oh, yes.
And also, I just, thank you to the families. I do know what you go through at nights and, you know, during all of our anniversaries, birthday parties, and everything else. At least you'll be able to enjoy them there for those special moments. So I am jealous of you on that part of it. So again, thank you very much, okay? All right, we're on to reports. Chief Mouse?
Good evening. Our March 2021 statistics in traffic area, we had 36 citations, 117 verbal warnings, 3 written warnings. For March 2021, we had 376 calls or requests for service. Last year we were at 278, and we ended last year at 895 for calls, and this year we're 1,009. So we are seeing a slight uptick in the month of March, which was our partial shutdown, so we'll see what the numbers look like for the rest of the year. We had 30 agency assist calls for the month. Some areas to highlight, ATV and golf cart permits. They can be renewed anytime during the year or gotten anytime during the year, but they're good from the 1st of the year to the 31st, so take advantage of that. If you have a golf cart, you need a slow-moving vehicle sign, rear view mirror insurance, and then you can get a permit issued for $25. ATVs, you have to have an active or current DNR registration, and then you just receive the permit. So make sure people are calling in for that, and we'll get those taken care of. We're up to, I think I did number 17 or 18 today, so moving along with those. I did look into the bow fishing situation that Councilmember Clausen had a question about. There is the ability to create an ordinance related to restricting or prohibiting, whichever way the ordinance decides to read, related to bow fishing within the city limits. So if that's something that the council wants to research or get into, we'd have to adopt an ordinance and go through that whole process related to that. But for the most part, we follow the DNR's rules related to firearms and projectiles and anything else in the city of Melrose. So we don't have a specific ordinance or a separate ordinance that says you can't, you know, use your bow in your backyard or anything like that or anywhere else in the city limits. So as long as they're following whatever the DNR rules are for distances, then it's permitted within the city. So that's about all I have, unless there's any questions from council.
Not really. I'll just add a little bit to the bow fishing deal. I would imagine that there will be a couple of people contacting you or the city or something, asking to get put on the agenda eventually. But I do know that, like, around Lake Minnetonka, there's a lot of communities that border Lake Minnetonka, and they all have, quite a few of them have ordinances saying you can't, bowfish, whatever their regulations say. But if we ever did get to that point, I mean, I'm sure we could ping them and find out how they set up their ordinance and stuff to make it a little simpler. But anyway, just throwing that out there. But wait to hear from some of the residents. So.
Well, Chief, I just want to say thank you for all you do for our community, especially in the limelight of what's going on in the world. Thank you to you and your police officers for your hard work, working with our communities, working with our citizens, and I appreciate you very much.
Absolutely, thank you.
Thanks, Greg.
City Attorney report, Scott?
Okay, a couple of items. Earlier this evening, you received your auditor's report, and just to note that, you know, every year the auditor asks me for a letter, and what they're really concerned about is that I might know something about a claim or that might be out there that wouldn't show up on the books, but would affect the city's finances if it went against the city. And every year I send them a letter saying, no, I'm not aware of anything like that. And that gets incorporated into the audit. So that part of the process, and you'll see that, that's why I listed that in my report, and that's why they ask. The other item taking up a lot of time is the Bonner nuisance. And we had a hearing on March, I want to say 19th. Should have jotted the date down. It was a Zoom hearing. And at that point, I had filed a motion on behalf of the city asking the court to find that they were in default and to issue a summary enforcement order. At the hearing, the court denied, wouldn't let it go by default, and set it on for a trial. So the trial is scheduled for May 11th. Prior to the trial, there'll be a pre-trial hearing, which is usually the attorneys and the judge kind of working out, a plan for conducting the trial. Last week, I got a motion from Bonner's attorney that he's asking to be heard at that pre-trial. And in that, it's a motion asking that the court dismiss our request for an abatement, or, summary enforcement, and that the city of Melrose be ordered to issue building permits to Bonner. It's part of the process. I was a little surprised that they would go to the expense of doing that. But, we'll deal with it. I've been working on, by them finding that motion, and I have to prepare a response. And I've been working on that, and we'll get that filed tomorrow. I don't expect, I would be surprised if the judge grants that. I expect that this will then go to trial, and we'll get a decision from the court after the 11th. So that update on where that is. So, like I say, any questions? I guess I don't think anybody should be surprised that they're fighting this every step of the way.
So, now if the judge goes in our favor, can we go after them for wasting our time and all the costs that is incurred to the city?
I'll have to look at, I don't believe we'll be able to recoup and charge them for all of my time, unfortunately.
Okay.
Any other questions?
No. Thank you, Scott. Community Development Director update, Lisa?
Good evening. On your agenda tonight is the Wentzman Street vacation. The Planning Commission heard this back in January. The Public Utilities Commission also recommended approval in February. The council hearing was opened on April 15th to allow, and then extended to allow mandatory time for the DNR to have input on the vacation. There has been no input, although we have attempted to reach them and have sent the mandatory notice. And we've not heard any complaints from anyone regarding the proposed vacation. The Planning Commission at their meeting later this month will hear a variance related to JTEK requesting a rear setback abutting the trail. They're looking for a 10-foot setback for a storage shed located at 500 Riverside Avenue. And then they're also requesting an existing easement that was for a potential right-of-way. It was dedicated back, I think, in the 90s, connecting across the trail just west of, kind of by Rearing's, that end of town. And that is never gonna have a road connection, so staff's reviewed it, is recommending that that 66-foot easement be reduced to 30 feet. So that will be on the agenda for next month for the city council. Also on the agenda for the Planning Commission later this month and the council next month is an ordinance change regarding modifying several sections of the zoning code related to potentially increasing the lot coverage for R1 and R2 residential. It's currently at 30%. It was 35 or 40% previously. There was a discussion about whether that ought to be increased a bit. Also the setbacks, we currently have a combined setback. We had a variance last month, as you probably recall,
Most cities just typically have just their straight setbacks, and there's really no need to duplicate the requirement by calling it out as a combined setback. So they just removing the language, the ordinance inherently does not change in that regard. There was also discussion about potentially changing the accessory structure requirements. Currently, accessory structures, there's allowed to be 2 accessory structures on the property, which inherently penalizes anyone who has a detached garage because that's one of their 2 structures. So language is proposed that would allow 1 primary garage plus 2 additional accessory structures, regardless of whether the garage is attached or detached. So that's kind of the gist of that. And then it was noted that there is no exterior building material standards currently for the public institutional zoning district, and so some language has been put together regarding that, kind of a variation of what the commercial regulations allow, with perhaps a little bit more flexibility, especially on the non-street sides. So that will be on your agenda for next month. This will be my last city council meeting, so thank you for the opportunity to work with you.
Well, thank you for all you've done, Lisa. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
City engineer report, Mr. Mike?
Okay, good evening, Mayor and members of the council. The chip seal contracts have been returned to the city for signature, so we expect to get that going as soon as the road restrictions are off. I haven't actually contacted, or they haven't contacted me regarding a fixed schedule or pre-construction meeting yet, but they did say that they wanted to get started fairly soon. The County Road 65 drainage improvements, we've been continuing negotiations with Anderson Underground. I think we should be coming to a conclusion on that here in the next week. 2020 street improvements, Mark Lee needs to come in and do the final cleanup, check concrete, that type of thing, and that'll also happen as soon as road restrictions come off. And the Fifth Avenue storm sewer design, we're at a point right now where we've determined that we do need a pond. There are a couple of different locations. We'll be zeroing in on the size of the pond and finding a preferred location for that pond, and then meeting with the affected property owners to get easements or purchase land for that purpose. And also we did an engineer's estimate to extend sewer, water, storm sewer, and street on Daylight Court to finish out the 5 remaining lots in the north end of the plat, but it appears that this time the developer won't be taking any action on that. So last item for discussion is the road, dam, and bridge project. The roadway plans are coming along. I think we've completed the water main design now for the river crossing. The 60% plans will be submitted, I think, by Friday of next week. The structures, the bridge preliminary plans were submitted to the bridge office on March 22nd. The draft dam repair plans are expected to be submitted mid-April, so again, probably by the end of next week. And then the channel and bridge construction staging will be included with the roadway plan. So at that point, we'll be able to look and kind of figure out, at what point does the bridge come down? What point do we start excavating the new channel? When do we flip over to the new channel? So the stream analysis is continuing with the DNR. A couple of minor issues I think they want us to look at yet. And they did submit a draft of the existing and proposed conditions for the hydraulic analysis for the DNR review. So permitting, they're starting on permitting with the Corps of Engineers and the DNR at this point. And the grant funding, the LCCMR grant was submitted. We need to have further discussion on the potential grants from the watershed and then the SWCD as they relate to the vegetation type and the campground finishes, those types of things. So that's all I've got, unless you have any questions.
That's good.
Thanks. Do you have any
Thanks, Mike.
questions? Thank you. All right, Colleen?
The legislature is back in session after their Easter break. And they started budget negotiations pretty earnestly through their May 17th deadline. That all happened, and then they had some additional civil unrest down in the cities. So the budget's actually kind of taken a back seat to what has now become their main issue, which is police reform. There's a flurry of bills and activity related to that. When they are able to get back to the budget, right now, the Senate is proposing a $51.9 billion budget with no tax increases. The House version is about 52.5 with some tax increases. The bonding infrastructure bill is probably the biggest sticking point when it comes to what they want to do with the budget. As far as the city goes, the two items that we are most interested in are bonding, primarily bridge bonding dollars that we need in order for us to do the RDB project perhaps this year, or start it maybe. So that's one of the areas that we're watching very closely. And then we have asked for an extension for the sales tax exemption and the fire remediation grants that encompass the 400 block and the craft lot. I testified, and I think I probably mentioned that last month before a committee on that. That's included in the huge ombudsman bill, so not sure where that's going to end up. The American Rescue Plan is going to, we're still waiting on guidance from that as well. Again, we are going to get between 360,000 to 405 or 6,000 perhaps. And we'll just have to see how that guidance comes out. Later on the agenda, I do have 3 action items that will need to take place. So just to give you a little bit of the background, myself and Tessa have been meeting with Julie and Jen. Jen Tashida is the ambulance coordinator, and Julie Albright is the assistant ambulance coordinator. And what we have been talking about is making changes to the ambulance department. The proposed changes include is really expanding the leadership roles. So right now you have a coordinator and assistant coordinator. And what we are looking at adding is a training officer and a secretary. The ambulance coordinator is actually a paid department head position that reports directly to the city administrator. The assistant coordinator is a position that is appointed every 2 years by the council. The additional positions of training officer and secretary would also be appointed by the council. So typically what would happen is if they get applications in, then a team from the, similar to what the fire department does, a team, from the ambulance department actually interviews those folks, and then there's recommendations that are brought forth. You guys typically will make those appointments at your first organizational meeting in January. However, with these changes, the ambulance department really doesn't want to wait until January because, I think there's some really good momentum right now and some really good excitement around what is going to be happening with the department. So what they would like to do is to get these positions in place starting July 1st. And so what they're recommending is a couple different things. One is the assistant coordinator would be a 2-year appointment, and then 4 years after that time. When I say 2, it's technically 2.5 because if they start in July. But then it would rotate correctly and be in lining with all the other positions. And then the training officer could be a 4-year appointment, and the secretary would be a 2-year appointment. So, and then the other thing, they have a medical director. Typically, the medical director does not come to the meetings, but Dr. Bestie, who is the medical director, has agreed to attend meetings on a more regular basis of the ambulance department. Just to keep in mind, the ambulance department operates as an enterprise fund and is self-sustaining. I believe you heard in the audit kind of where those enterprises were at. And one of the things were the budgets. The ambulance is in a very good position right now, and they have a very healthy fund balance. So later on in the agenda, we will be looking at approval for additional 2 more ambulance leadership positions, and then There also would be looking at approval for wages. The proposed wages are, the coordinator would remain where the coordinator is at right now. The assistant coordinator would be changed to $5,000 a year. The training officer would be $2,500 a year, and the secretary would be $500 a year. The increased medical director pay would go from $500 a year to $2,000 a year. So that is what is proposed. And again, these will be action items further down on the agenda. I would say that if you have any questions, Jen and Julie are both here, or myself, we'd be more than happy, or Tessa, we'd be more than happy to answer any questions that you may have regarding that. And then the only other thing I wanted to mention, Mr. Mayor, is that as more and more folks obviously get vaccinated, we are seeing things open up. We're also seeing COVID cases rising somewhat. So like anything else, we're continuing to watch it. A lot of people are getting vaccinated though, and that's a very good positive thing. So my messaging really is just we have to remain agile in terms of how we deal with it. So I think we're doing a very good job, and we'll just continue to keep doing what we're doing. So that's what I have, Mr. Mayor. If anyone has any questions for me, I'd be happy to entertain those questions.
We good?
Good.
All right. We're on to 7, continuation of a public hearing. It is 6:30 p.m. Do we need to speak more about it, or?
Unless you need to hear something.
We can show you a map, if that would help you at all.
Wanted to call for any testimony
Yep.
3 times. Get in.
Yep.
Oops, sorry. So this gives you a map that shows you.
So you can see on the left-hand side, Fifth Avenue is proposed to be vacated, and on the right-hand side, you can see the sort of north-south hash mark that's going to be replacing that road right-of-way with an easement for city utilities. And then that will extend further than the existing Fifth Avenue South corridor into the vacated 7th Street corridor and connect with the existing utility easement that goes east-south, or east-west. So what's before you tonight is both vacating Fifth Avenue and accepting an easement along Fifth Avenue and connecting to the existing easement on 7th Street.
Okay. So I'm just checking, is there anybody in the public that would like to speak for or against, or have any questions? Now would be the time for anybody that would like to speak up. Okay. We're all good. Well, it's 6:31. If nobody wants to say anything, we can close this now, right, Scott? Okay. Can I get a motion to close this meeting?
So move.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Public hearing is closed. All right, we are on to action items. So it's going to be resolution number 2021-14, a resolution vacating a street, 3rd Avenue Northwest, located south of the current 5th Avenue Northwest, and also 8th Street Northwest upon the petition of the majority of the budding landowners. That was okay. If there's any further questions,
I'll make a motion to approve.
okay.
Second?
First and a second, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion is carried. And then, do we have to do anything else with this, or everything's good on it then? All right. All right, temporary summer and seasonal worker. Do we have any questions or concerns about that? Looks like a rehire from last year.
Right.
So can I get a motion to approve the rehire of Sam Reeland for the 2021 summer help seasonal worker?
So move.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Toro Groundmaster 410 lawn tractor. Do we have any questions about that at all?
I'm just curious, you know me, used equipment. Gary, do you know how many hours are on that one by chance?
3,600.
Okay. It's quite a few hours, but it's diesel engine, right? So they go,
We had the engine already.
Oh, did you?
Engine seal. It's starting to, starting to show a lot of wear.
oh, is it? And my only question is, trade-in is 95, maybe, not that the golf course would be interested in something like that, but 9,500 compared to $100,000 for a new one, maybe somebody would be interested locally to pick that up as a backup or something, but
I have a couple people inquired, including Stearns County. And,
Okay.
they weren't interested, but also I reached out to the vendor and I asked him about the trade. He said what happens when they take this in, they have to completely go through it.
Right.
And they'll probably stick another.
2-3 grand into it, and then they still gotta make some money on it.
They have to sell it.
Right.
A warranty possibly.
Right. So, that's always my, if somebody's interested in picking something up like that for trade-in, whatever we're gonna get for trade-in, that's always something that we should be open to, I think. Locally or whatever, so, I'm fine with the purchase and trading it in, but I don't think the golf course would be interested in it, that's a big machine, huh?
It's 11 foot, but,
Yeah, that's pretty big.
I mean, that's, if you wanted, we could
Well,
possibly.
they run bigger ones at the golf course.
Yeah, I don't know. I can make a phone call real quick and ask them if they have any interest, but if we're open to that.
We did that with the loader.
Yep.
The only issue with selling it outright, they come back to, when
Yep.
Worms bought our loader at that time, we traded it in, and they bought it from the vendor, so we were on it.
Gotcha, right. So their name is on the last owners?
Yes.
Yep, gotcha.
Right.
So how would you like to make your motion?
I'll make a motion to go forward with it. I mean, if we have interest, we can always,
I'll second it.
right?
Okay.
Is somebody else on that?
There were actually 3 separate actions for the
Okay.
last item, I apologize.
Oh,
Okay, so,
That's right.
this motion, it was a first and a second, all in favor say aye.
aye.
Opposed, motion carried. Yeah, I see now, that's why I was wondering, so, okay. The application was received by the city clerk. Let's see, how else? Let's see. All right, so which one, okay, we did the first one. Second, authorize recording the notice of completion and proceeding for vacating the street.
So move.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. Dedication of the utility easement along the eastern 15 feet of the proposed street vacation connecting south beyond the vacation of 3rd Avenue Northwest to connecting the existing 10-foot permanent drainage to the utility easement across the part of the vacated 7th Street North, originally dedicated as 2nd Street North in the plat of H.J. Haskamp Edition. Can we get a motion to approve that?
So move.
Okay, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion is carried.
Thank you.
Yep, no problem. Front desk reception, temporary. Do you want to take that one?
Tessa's been
Or
taken.
Tessa?
Good evening, Mayor and Council. We have an administrative staff that will be taking a 12-week leave this summer. Due to being down now 2 positions, we're requesting to hire a temporary position to fill this. They would start approximately May 17th and run approximately 12 weeks from there. So this person would be responsible for answering the phone, working with the customers, taking utility payments, and so on.
Okay. Do you have any questions? Otherwise, can I get a motion, please?
I'll make a motion to approve that temporary receptionist position.
Okay. Second, okay. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. Additional ambulance positions, who would like to talk?
So we've already kind of talked about
Yeah.
everything, unless Jen had any more to add. Otherwise, it's just a matter of the recommending that the council. And by the way, the one thing I did not mention is the ad hoc committee did meet and discuss these changes and is supportive of the changes. Recommend that the city council approve the addition of 2 more appointed ambulance leadership positions, training officer and secretary.
Is there anything, Jen, that you have questions on, or?
I was just wondering, has the job description application packet been created? I know you're kind of trying to accelerate this and I can understand the reason behind it. Is there,
Yep, so we've met quite a few times on this and kind of did a lot of brainstorming. And we do have a meeting next week, and I kind of want to do an anonymous survey. There's one piece of it that we're still questioning And I do want to have, allow the members to have, their opinion count as well. And the piece that we're questioning is whether or not that training officer, because they will, the training officer role will come up in 2 years, and then 2 years later, the assistant, so that they're not 2 new people at the same time. Because for me to train in 2 new people into those roles will be tough, and so the assistant will be there for 2 years when the new training officer starts. Then when the assistant is done, the training officer will have been there for 2 years. So kind of rotate those through. The question that I have for the department is, do we want that training officer role to roll right into the assistant or not? And I kind of just want to get a feel for what their thoughts are, because I go back and forth. The assistant, Julie, she does a great job, and everybody has different availabilities to be able to help, and so not everybody would be able to go from that training officer to that assistant position. So I just want to kind of get that survey out, but we've worked, the job descriptions are pretty much done. We've kind of worked through some of that already. I work with NREMT recertification, so the training officer would follow that. We kind of have everything pretty much clearly written down, what they'd be responsible for, and we'll make those last minute changes. We've asked all the members to give their input on what they would like to see happen with all of these positions. So I think we're pretty close to being ready outside of anything that comes up at our meeting next month. So it'll be good to see, or to have a few more people that are, people don't understand the work that is done behind the scenes. When decisions need to be made, you can't ask for 20 people, you guys know that. You can't ask for 20 people's opinion because you're going to get 20 different opinions. And so it'll be nice to have a couple more members involved to see how some of the decisions are made on the department, and especially as it comes to the training, which is becoming more and more with a national certification that everyone has to have.
Yeah. Whatever works for you.
We don't know how this will work. I only see positive changes, and as far as the future of, the department and leadership, this will allow for more people to be involved, and if there's changes that are made, I've been doing this a long time, probably the longest coordinator, I think, and so to be able to have more people in that leadership role and to know how some of the things happen. It's kind of interesting because we asked for members' suggestions and feedback, and I got a lot. And some of them wrote things like, "Oh, we should do this, we should do this," and I kind of giggled because every one of them I could check off are roles that either I take care of already or Julie does. So it'll be nice to, for as busy as we are, to have a few more people. If people miss a meeting, to know that there's a training officer that's going to meet up with them, and that doesn't just fall on us. So.
Just a thought here, if there's concerns with job descriptions or something, we could do something like contingent on, like the ad hoc committee reviewing the job descriptions or something to that effect also.
Yeah.
You want to just start this in July, right? So it gives us a couple months to finalize
I know we
stuff.
normally start January 1, but
Right.
to kind of dream about this and plan for this and wait till January, we've got the excitement of the members right now. We've had a lot of change. We've had some members retire. We've had some new members start. I've completely changed the way our meetings are running. So there's a lot of momentum, like Colleen
Right.
said, and Dr. Bestie's excited for the changes. So really what we did was we took the assistant job description and pulled all the pieces as far as the reporting structures and things that needed to be, and then kind of what the responsibilities of the secretary would be, added those into that one, and then what the responsibilities of the training officer would be, and then added those into that one.
Okay. All right. Any other questions? Okay. Someone make a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion to approve it. I don't know if it really needs to go through that.
Yeah, probably not. If the job descriptions are working, they'll take care of it, so I'll second it.
All right. It's first and second, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. And then, and thank you, Jen, for you and Julie for all you do. Then the wages, can I get a motion to approve the wages?
The secretary role, is that, I mean, I just see the 2,000, 2,500, 5,000, is 500 before we approve it, is that, I don't know what that, if that's a very minor role,
Yeah,
but just a
so,
little bit to.
yep, so, the secretary role will, I didn't bring that with me, Tessa can refresh me, but really what the secretary will do is take, minutes at our meetings.
Okay.
So they'll be responsible for taking the minutes, sending those out to all the members afterwards.
Sending the agenda.
And what?
Mail, the agenda, I think, aren't they gonna send out? the
There's like
agenda?
3 things,
Okay.
and it's just really that month,
Yeah.
probably like a half hour to an hour of work.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'm missing one thing, but
no, that's fine, I mean, all the other ones seem higher and I
Yeah, and-
just wanted to make sure that.
Yep,
before
yep,
we
and that
approve it.
one, the nice part about that is anybody, we also put with them minimum years of being on the department.
Okay.
And secretary would be just after the 6-month probationary period, anybody could do that one.
Okay,
All right.
I'll make a motion to approve it.
Okay, you got this first and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. On the old business, 2021 street improvement projects.
Mr. Mayor, members of the council, bids were open for the 2021 street improvement project last week, Wednesday. We received 6 bids. Mark Lee Excavating of Alexandria was the low bidder, with a grand total bid amount of $149,065. The engineer's estimate for the project was $156,266, and we are recommending award to Mark Lee in that amount.
Okay.
Mark Lee is the contractor that had the project last year and did great work, so we're totally fine with their bid numbers. So the bids did range from 149 up to 177,000. Any questions?
We're good. Can I get a motion to approve?
Make a motion to approve?
Can I get a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Blaine, you just wanted to talk about the COVID real quick?
Not really, I kind of already covered it. There's, I was just kind of waiting for some guidance to come out of the state. We were hearing that we were gonna get some additional guidance, but it didn't happen, so it's, status quo right now. We'll let you know if anything changes.
Okay.
I do
Oh.
want, actually, there is something that's really positive that I do want to point out. It was last week, the Latin Economic Development Council from the cities came up here because they wanted to get the Latin community to take the vaccination, so they had 88 people that came in and got that vaccination from the Latino community. So that was very good. They had interpreters here, and so it was very positive.
Okay. That's awesome. Awesome. Did you have something to say?
I should probably just keep my mouth shut.
Thank you. All right, there is no new business. Informational items, utility commission meeting minutes, first quarter ambulance report, comprehensive annual financial report. Nothing else? Can I get a motion?
You might want to, there's an award for that TAFA report, isn't it?
Okay.
Where's that? It's supposed to be presented.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, we did receive a certificate of achievement for excellence in financial reporting to the city of Melrose. And for the most part, thank you, Tessa, for all you do for our financials. You make everybody's job a lot easier, so thank you for that, okay? So, all right, anything else? Otherwise, can I get a motion to adjourn?
So move.
Can I get a second? Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's carried.